All right, folks. Let's hear it one more time for Max. All right, folks. The man who's coming to the stage is a pretty fantastic individual. He is a theatre kid. He's a librarian. He's a teacher. He is a retirement failure. He was with the library for 37 years. He's been an adjunct professor at FSU for 17 years. And as he approaches his 60th birthday, Harold understands that the one thing that keeps him going, the one thing that keeps all of us going, it is drugs. Thanks, Stephen. It's connection. Connection, connection, connection. And maybe Quaaludes. I don't fucking know. He is, ladies and gentlemen, St. Augustine's unofficial mayor. To know this man is to love this man. Ladies and gentlemen, Harold George, opportunity favors the prepared.
This seems like it. Can you hear me, folks? Loud? Okay, I can do loud. 1986 was a pretty big year for me, and it was the most magical summer of my life. I had a lot of fun, but I learned some big lessons that year. And while most people's 1986 probably looked something like that, mine looked a little different, because that was the year that I was in Florida State Play, Cross and Sword. You might have heard of it. Cross and Sword told the story of the founding of St. Augustine, and it played every summer for 32 years. So 1986 was a long, hot summer. We had 2 weeks of rehearsals, followed by 10 weeks of shows, 6 nights a week. For 3 months straight, I wore velvet, wool, or corduroy in the summer heat. If you were lucky enough to be a Native American, then you were half naked wearing a bathing suit covered in Spanish moss. Now this next picture was taken the morning after the last show. This was right after everybody was headed off in their different directions, and nobody on that porch made more than $90 a week that year. The rent for that apartment was $285 a month. And that place had 10 to 15 occupants, and it was the center of our universe. I was a background actor, which means I sang in the chorus, I played a Spanish soldier, a French prisoner, and sometimes I understudied for the supporting players. I was number 6 in line to understudy the lead, so I never expected to actually play the part of the lead that summer. The stage we had was pretty treacherous, and especially when the lights were low. And one night, the lead fell off the stage, and the injury took him out for the rest of the show. Now, all the other understudies were already filling in for other injured actors, so that was the night the lucky understudy number 6 got his big break. I still remember walking into that dressing room, and the stage manager hands me the lead's costume. I don't know how I had the courage to proceed, but I got dressed, and I walked to the stage, and by all accounts, the show was 20 minutes shorter that night. My performance basically was responding to all the other actors who saved me in every scene by saying their lines and then my lines. And yet the audience didn't notice that the lead was a 36-year-old man with a full beard in the first half of the show. And then in the second half of the show, he was a baby-faced 20-year-old. And then there was a wonderfully awkward moment where I had a passionate love scene with one of my best friends. She's right over there, Joanne, thank you. She saved us from a lifetime of embarrassment by kissing me on the forehead. And it was all like Lucy and Ethel. I should have listened to my mentor and teacher, Tom Rayner. He said there's nothing more important in acting than a strong work ethic and being on a team that's great together because everyone makes the play work. So when I was a child, I was painfully shy, always trying to be invisible. And it was my 9th grade teacher that saw that, and she put me in the Christmas play. She changed my life. And speaking of great teachers, everybody's favorite art teacher, Heather Hickey, is here with a public service announcement.
Arts education grows confident kids. The arts provide a platform for self-expression, enabling young people to communicate their thoughts and emotions effectively. Arts education builds resilience in at-risk adolescents who face various social and economic challenges. Through collaborative projects, group performances, and shared experiences, adolescents involved in the arts programs learn about teamwork, cultivate social skills, and develop a stronger sense of empathy.
Thanks, Heather. Our teachers rock. Now back to me. In the summer of 2018, I decided to give stand-up comedy a try, and I started going to open mic nights. I would sit in the audience, and my heart would be pounding harder and harder in my chest, and I'd be like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I putting myself through this? This is like the old days when I used to audition for plays. And then it hit me. I might never skydive or jump off a cliff, but getting up in front of an audience on a stage is my version of being an adrenaline junkie. Dealing with the fear I always had as a young person. Now, possibly the coolest teacher I ever had in my life was my high school art teacher, Sister Carol. Yes, some of you know her. I learned so much in her class about life. The first time I ever heard of the balance of male and female in a person, concept of yin and yang, it was from a nun. She taught us how to nurture our processes, trust ourselves. We spent more time practicing how to mix paint colors than actually painting, because she told us that opportunity might come knocking, but it always favors the prepared. So remember those kids on that porch back in 1986? They're coming. 40 years later, number 1 helps train doctors. Number 2 is a doctor of speech pathology. Number 3 is an accomplished musician and history teacher. Number 4, he travels the country as a stage technician. Number 5, that's me, if you haven't figured it out. I'm a librarian and a college professor. Every day, my theater background helps me communicate with people who walk through that front door. And it also helps me make topics interesting to students, like the fundamental role of libraries in their community, and the part they play in the First Amendment rights of the nation. So Shakespeare once wrote, all of the world's a stage, and we are merely its players. Well, if that's true then, folks, we better get ready for a big break. Know your role, learn your lines, show up on time, but most importantly, be ready to pull your friend through the second act. Thank you.